Okay guys, I've been working with BJJ athletes for about 8 years now. I've worked with hundreds of BJJ athletes at all different levels, and I'm going to tell you guys the biggest weight cutting mistake that I see in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu today. So the biggest weight cutting mistake that I see in BJJ is focusing on weight cutting and weight classes at the lower belt levels. I have so many athletes that I've worked with in the past who are constantly competing, which I think is great because it's a great way to learn and to develop as an athlete. But they cut weight for every single one of these tournaments. They're always trying to be at the top of their weight class, so they're constantly cutting weight for every single tournament, even though they're competing every 2 or 4 weeks. And what happens with these athletes is they never make significant gains in performance. So when it comes to BJJ, particularly at the lower belt levels, skill is going to be the number one thing that's going to make you better. You guys all know it. If you compete in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, you can be bigger, stronger, more athletic. If you get out there at blue belt and you're fighting a blue belt who has more experience and is more technically skilled, they will win every single time. It's not until we get to the higher belt levels and we get to higher levels of competition where skill starts to become quite evenly matched. And that's when the more explosive, the stronger, the better conditioned athlete is going to have the advantage. But as you know, when it comes to BJJ, skill is always going to trump strength and all of these other things. So knowing that, and any BJJ athlete will tell you that, that's actually one of the biggest reasons a lot of jiu-jitsu fighters don't do strength and conditioning, and I have to convince them how important strength and conditioning is for their long-term athletic development. But that's the excuse a lot of them make, is that they need more time on the mats and spending time doing technical skills, which I agree with. But the same people who say that also cut 7 pounds for every tournament. That doesn't make any sense, because if I'm going to be cutting weight for jiu-jitsu tournaments, because I think size and strength is such an advantage that I want to be at the top end of my weight class, but I don't do any strength and conditioning because I need to focus on the technical skill, those things don't make sense. So I'm going to tell you my opinion and what I've seen over time with a lot of the athletes that I've worked with. Here's 2 examples of a BJJ athlete, and let's say this is kind of the starting line for overall performance, athletic performance for a white belt or blue belt. An athlete who focuses on long-term athletic development. So somebody who focuses on, I want to be a black belt world champion one day. Today I'm a blue belt. I want to compete, I want to train, and I want to build my body up so that the day that I face some of the other top black belts in the world, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm faster, I'm quicker, I'm more explosive, and I'm better skilled and conditioned as well. In order for me to do that, I need to focus on this long-term athletic development model. So that means I need to get on a legitimate strength and conditioning program, and I need to allow my body to adapt to that training program, which means I need to provide enough stress during that training program to continually, gradually build up. So that would be the example here of the blue athlete. This athlete is on a strength and conditioning program. Maybe he's competing 10 times throughout this year, but he's competing with the mindset of, I want to be a black belt world champion, not I want to win the local San Diego regional championship at blue belt against 2 fighters. And I'm not saying it's not important to win tournaments, but if we try to peak and taper for every single tournament that you compete in, you're never going to reach your goals. You're never going to see benefits in performance. So this line is a guy who's training through those tournaments. Because there's no off season for BJJ, there's no off season for combat sports, there's no time where we can spend like an off-season athlete to really build up all of our weaknesses and physical qualities and then get into our competitive season where we focus on peaking and maintaining those qualities. So this athlete throughout the year, maybe he's focused on winning Pan Ams and Worlds, and maybe he's got Abu Dhabi Trials or one other tournament throughout the year. So he's got 4 or 5 major tournaments of the year. 5 times is already too many times to peak physically throughout the year. I would focus on an athlete peaking maybe 3 to 4 times throughout the year, and then knowing that the other tournaments are going to fall in there, but we're going to train through those tournaments, knowing that I might be a tiny bit sore when I go into it, or I might not be at my physical peak every single time, but I'm going to learn from those tournaments and progressively get better so that I can be the black belt world champion that I want to be one day. So that would be this athlete who's progressively getting better over time. You can see these gradual improvements, plateaus, gradual improvements, and by the end of this training year, or maybe this is a 3-year training plan, you can see from the baseline he started to his overall performance, whatever the measures we're using, whether that's performance on the mats in jiu-jitsu, explosiveness, speed, power, strength, conditioning, whatever it is, you can see the gradual improvements over time. And then here's athlete B. And this is what most athletes do because they're so focused on winning every single local regional tournament that they want to peak and condition and cut weight for all these tournaments. And this is what happens to them. They start to build up a little bit of strength and they get a little bit better, and then, oh, I have to cut 7 pounds for that tournament next week. So now we can't focus on training, we can't focus on anything because we have to cut 7 pounds. Now they cut weight, then their performance is shitty because cutting weight for jiu-jitsu tournaments is stupid as it is because you have to weigh in the day of the tournament and you lose a lot of your stamina and your strength that you already gained in your training just by that reduction in water weight and that dehydration. So if you're doing that, complete waste of time. But let's get rid of that. Now he's plateaued here in this tournament. Maybe he did okay. Okay, you know what? He lost this tournament, didn't do as well as he wanted. Now he's going to really focus on his strength conditioning, starts to go back up, starts to get it in the gym. He's feeling good. He's fueling himself properly. And then he's going to compete again 2 weeks later. Now he's going to cut 4 pounds because he's overweight again. So he cuts back down and he plateaus. And you notice throughout the duration of the year, he's got peaks and valleys. He's cutting weight. He's constantly changing. He's spending these 1.5 to 2 week periods where his jiu-jitsu training is affected, his strength and conditioning is affected because he's cutting carbohydrates, cutting calories, because he has to constantly be worried about making weight, all for the sake of, I think I might be getting some benefit by being the bigger guy at that weight class. And again, you're probably not getting that benefit anyway because if you're cutting water weight the day of a tournament, you're losing all that strength and power and stamina that you would have gained in training. So my recommendation to you, if you want to improve your performance in BJJ, focus on the skills. When you're a lower belt, get in the gym, focus on your skills. When you're doing your strength and conditioning, you only need to be training twice a week, focusing on building long-term athletic development. Stop focusing on cutting weight when you're 16 years old. Stop focusing on these stupid things. Go in and compete at the weight that you walk around at. Learn from these experiences. That's how you're going to build up and eventually become a world champion and be able to, maybe you'll be a world champion, maybe not. But you're going to set yourself up and give yourself the best possible opportunity to do that. Or you could beat yourself up, you could break down, and you could be like 99.9% of BJJ competitors who will never be a world champion, and maybe some of them had the potential to do it, but because they did this crap throughout their lower belts, they never reached their physical peak and they never optimized their potential. So that's one of the biggest mistakes I see in BJJ. I hope that this helps you. Some of you younger BJJ competitors, I hope that you take this to heart. Focus on a long-term athletic development model and you will maximize your potential in jiu-jitsu and maximize your athletic potential overall. Thank you guys for checking out my video today. Please share this one with any of your friends who train Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. If this helps one Jiu Jitsu athlete to maximize their potential, then this was worth the time that I spent putting this video out there. I hope that this helps you guys. Thank you for checking out my channel. If you like these videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm Coach PJ, raising the bar.